The sky burned red above the Pacific. Ships fell like shooting stars, but they were not stars. They were dying warships, falling from orbit like broken wings. The sea below boiled as fire rained down. Captain Mira Kane stood on the ruins of the old defense tower, her armor cracked, her radio filled with static. All around her, Earth screamed. The alien Xerath fleet had arrived 2 months ago, and in just 60 days, humanity had lost everything. Cities were glass. The oceans were poison. The moon was gone, shattered during the first orbital strike, and now, this was the end. Mira pressed her hand to the communicator. A single voice came through, her brother Commander Jace Kane, calling from the last surviving battleship in orbit. Mira, listen to me. If you hear this, don't stop fighting. Don't let them win. Static swallowed his words. Then, a flash of light on the horizon. His ship, the Horizon's flame, exploded in silence. Mira dropped to her knees. The wind howled through the ruins. The last of the old Earth Defense Command was gone, but she didn't cry. Not yet. Night fell. The air was filled with the low hum of alien machines, dark shapes floating through the clouds, scanning for survivors. Mira moved through the debris, keeping to the shadows. Around her a few soldiers still lived, tired, hungry, eyes empty. Humanity had lost the war, but something inside her refused to surrender. When she reached the underground hangar, the blast doors opened with a heavy groan. Inside was Admiral Holt, the last commander of Earth's fleet. His hair was silver, his face lined with years of command and loss. "Captain Kane," he said quietly, "you made it." "Barely," Mira replied. "Jace is gone. The flame is gone." Holt looked down for a moment, then straightened. "Then we carry his flame, Captain, because the war isn't over." "Not yet." He led her deeper into the hangar. What she saw there stopped her breath. Under the ice and rubble of old Alaska, hidden from orbit, a new ship was being built. Sleek, angular, forged from scavenged alien metal and human courage. Its name glowed across the hull. Helios. "This," Holt said, "is the first of the Armada project. Humanity's last chance." Mira walked closer, her boots echoing across the floor. "How many ships?" "7 if we're lucky," Holt said. "Each with a hybrid drive. Faster than light, using stolen Xerath tech." Mira turned to him, shocked. "You stole their engine cores?" Holt nodded. "From the wreck of one of their scouts. It's unstable, dangerous. But if it works, we can reach them before they reach us again." She ran her hand along the cold metal. It pulsed faintly as if alive. "And if it doesn't work, then we die trying," Holt said. "Better than dying here." Outside, the world was burning. But in that hidden hangar, hope flickered like a small flame against endless night. For weeks, Mira trained new recruits, the last pilots, engineers, and scientists who had escaped the Xerath hunt. Every day they heard explosions above. Every night they buried the dead. But the ship grew stronger, and so did Mira. One evening, while running diagnostics on the Helios, she noticed a strange signal on the comms. A deep pulse, repeating every 14 seconds. Not human. Not alien. Something else. She called Holt over. "Admiral, this signal, it's coming from deep space. Coordinates beyond the solar rim." He frowned. "Impossible. Nothing human could transmit from that far. And the Xerath haven't been there. But it's in English," Mira whispered. "It says, Earth is not finished yet." They stared at each other in silence. Days later, the fleet was almost ready. But supplies were low. The Xerath were closing in, their orbiting destroyers scanning for energy signatures. Holt gathered the crew in the command bay. "You all know what's at stake," he said. "The Xerath think they broke us. They think humanity is gone. But they forgot one thing." He pointed toward the stars above the cracked roof. "They forgot what happens when you corner humanity. We fight back." Cheers echoed through the chamber, but beneath it all, Mira felt a shadow, a weight in her chest she couldn't shake. That night, she dreamed of Jace. He stood in a field of fire, his uniform torn, eyes glowing with strange light. "Mira," he said softly, "they're not done yet. They're building something worse." When she woke, her hands were trembling. The message still pulsed faintly on the ship's console. "Earth is not finished yet." As dawn broke, or what passed for dawn in a sky filled with ash, The alarms screamed. The Xerath had found them. A massive alien cruiser descended through the clouds, its black hull shimmering with red fire. The ground shook as energy beams tore through the surface. Holt shouted, "Get the Helios airborne!" "Now!" Mira ran for the cockpit, her heart pounding. The hangar lights flickered, walls cracking from the blast. The engines roared to life, a deep, living hum that vibrated through her bones. For a moment, she saw the reflection of Earth's burning horizon in the ship's glass. Then she pushed the throttle forward. The Helios lifted, breaking through smoke and flame, rising into the sky like a second sunrise. Missiles chased them, explosions blooming all around. Mira gritted her teeth. "Come on, hold together." A blast hit the left wing. Sparks filled the cabin. Holt's voice came through the radio. "We're clear. The fleet's launching!" Through the clouds, Mira saw 6 more ships ignite, streaks of light rising from the ruins of Earth. Heading for the stars, the Xerath ships followed. But humanity was already gone, out of reach, into the void. Mira looked down one last time at the blue world fading beneath her, scarred, broken, but still home. "We'll be back," she whispered. "For Jace, for Earth." And as the Helios vanished into faster-than-light space, the strange signal pulsed one last time through the dark. Earth is not finished yet. Space was silent, cold, endless, and full of ghosts. The 7 ships of the Armada project drifted in the shadow of Titan, hidden beneath its frozen clouds. For weeks they had slept, steel giants waiting for a reason to rise. Now that moment had come. Inside the flagship Helios, Captain Mira Kane stood before the main viewport. Beyond it, Saturn's golden rings glimmered faintly, peaceful and deadly. The hum of the engines echoed deep through the ship like a heartbeat, slow, powerful, alive. "All systems check complete," said Lieutenant Chen, her voice steady but eyes wide with awe. "Power cores are stable." "FTL drive at 60% charge." Mira nodded. "Good. No mistakes." "This is humanity's first step beyond the stars. We can't afford failure." Admiral Holt entered the bridge, his coat brushing against the steel railing. "Captain," he said, "our scouts report no Xerath ships in range. They think we're dead." "Let's keep it that way," Mira turned. "How long until launch?" 3 hours, Holt said quietly. "Once we leave Titan, there's no coming back." The crew worked in silence, focused and tired. These were not soldiers born for war. They were survivors. Engineers, miners, students, and scientists. But beneath the fear, there was something else. Resolve. Humanity had been beaten. Broken, burned, but never erased, deep in the engine core. Technicians inspected the stolen Xerath drive, glowing faint blue inside a sealed chamber. It pulsed like a living heart. Dr. Ilara Voss, the ship's lead scientist, stared at it through the glass. "It shouldn't work," she whispered. "But somehow it does. It feels aware." Chief Engineer Raffi Darrow wiped sweat from his face. "Let's hope it stays friendly." "I don't like flying inside something that thinks." Ilara frowned. "It doesn't think. It remembers." Before Raffi could reply, the lights flickered once, twice, then stabilized. Mira's voice came over the intercom. "Bridge to engineering, report." Raffi tapped his headset. "Just a power fluctuation, Captain." Probably nothing. But deep inside the chamber, the drive pulsed again, brighter, faster, almost as if it had heard them. As the countdown continued, Mira reviewed the flight plan. Their destination was a star system 2 jumps away, uncharted, possibly safe. They would build a new base there, rebuild humanity's strength, and prepare to strike back. But something about the strange signal from Part 1 still haunted her. Earth is not finished yet. Who had sent it? Another survivor, an AI, or something else entirely? Her thoughts were interrupted by Holt. "You've done well, Captain. I know what this means to you." "After your brother." Mira looked down. "Jace died fighting." "I intend to do the same, but smarter," Holt smiled sadly. "That's the difference between heroes and leaders, Mira. Heroes die. Leaders make sure humanity lives. T-minus 10 minutes to launch. Crew members strapped into their stations." The Helios shuddered as power surged through its core. Outside, Titan's frozen plains cracked open as engines the size of skyscrapers roared to life. Ignition in 3, 2, 1. The ground exploded in light. Space shattered, scattering like diamonds as the Helios rose into the black sky, followed by 6 more ships: Atlas, Vanguard, Erebus, Nova, Pioneer, and Lancer. For the first time since Earth's fall, humanity had returned to the stars. As they reached orbit, Mira gave the order. Engage FTL drive. The stars outside stretched into streaks of light as the drive came online. The ship trembled violently. Alarms flashed red. Drive temperature rising. Core field unstable. Rafi's voice shouted over the comms. It's overloading. The alien tech, it's reacting to something. Shut it down. Mira barked. Ilara's voice came next, soft but terrified. We can't. It's locking us in. The Helios jolted again, throwing the crew off balance. Sparks flew. Screens shattered, and then silence. The ship was gone. No explosion. No debris, just a ripple of light fading into the dark. When Mira opened her eyes, everything was still. The stars outside looked wrong, brighter, closer, unfamiliar. Chen whispered, "Captain, navigation's offline." "I don't recognize this sky." Holt looked at the readings. "We're not near Titan anymore." "The drive jumped us. Much farther than planned." "How far?" Mira asked. Ilara hesitated. "At least 50 light years." Mitra stared out the viewport. "That's impossible." Rafi's voice came from engineering. "Captain, the drive isn't responding. It's like it burned itself out. But there's something else." "A signal," Mira frowned. "What kind of signal?" "It's human." They played it through the bridge speakers. Static first, then a voice, weak, echoing across the void. "If anyone can hear me, this is Commander Jace Kane of the ship Horizon's Flame. Requesting assistance." Mira froze. The voice was old, distorted, but it was him. "Her brother." "Coordinates attached." "Hurry, before they find me." The signal cut out. The bridge went silent. Holt slowly turned toward Mira. "Captain, your brother died over the Pacific. I saw his ship explode," Mira whispered. "I saw it." Ilara checked the signal log. "It's real." "The data's human pre-fall encryption. But the timestamp." "It's over 2 years old," Rafi muttered. 2 years old and still broadcasting. "That's impossible." Mira's heart pounded. "Set a course for those coordinates." Holt hesitated. "It could be a trap. The Xerath could have faked it. Then we'll find out," Mira said. "If he's alive, we bring him home. If it's bait, we end it." Her voice was calm, but her eyes burned with fire. As the fleet turned toward the signal, something moved in the darkness. A shadow, vast, silent, almost invisible, glided between the stars. In the blackness beyond their scanners, an alien ship watched. Its hull shimmered with red lights like eyes opening one by one. Inside, the Xerath commander hissed through his translator, "The humans awaken. Begin the hunt." Back on the Helios, Rafi was still monitoring the drive. "Captain," he said quietly, "there's something wrong with the core." "What do you mean?" He turned the monitor toward her. "The energy readings. They're alive. It's like something inside is growing." Mira stared at the pulsing light deep in the ship's heart. It throbbed faster, almost like it was breathing, and then a soft voice whispered through the comms. "Not human, not alien. You are not ready." Every light on the ship flickered. The crew froze. The drive pulsed once more, brighter than before, then went dark. Darkness surrounded the fleet. The stars outside the Helios hung cold and still, too quiet, too empty. It felt wrong. Captain Mira Kane stood on the bridge, her hands gripping the console. The lights flickered again, and that strange voice still echoed in her mind. "You are not ready." It hadn't come from any channel. It came through the ship itself, through the drive. Through the air, Mira tried to focus. "Status report," she ordered. Lieutenant Chen checked the systems. "Engines stable, Captain. Shields holding, but navigation's a mess. We don't know where we are." Admiral Holt frowned. "We're too far from Titan, too deep. The drive threw us across half the galaxy." Mira looked out the viewport. A faint blue light glowed in the distance, like a dying star. "Head toward that signal," she said. "We need to know what's out here." Chen nodded. "Aye, Captain. Setting course." As the ship moved forward, space itself seemed to shimmer. Tiny sparks drifted past, like fireflies in the void. But those were not fireflies, they were wrecks. Thousands of them. Old ships, human and alien, floating lifeless in a silent graveyard. Holt whispered, "What happened here?" Rafi's voice came from engineering. "Captain, scanners show no heat, no radiation, nothing alive. These ships are ancient, centuries old." Mira stepped closer to the glass.
Hulls torn apart.
Frozen bodies drifting among the ruins. One ship still had the Earth defense insignia, old from before the Xerath invasion. Ilara, the scientist, spoke softly. "This shouldn't be possible. Humanity never reached this far before," Chen added. "Unless someone brought them here." The bridge fell silent. Then Holt spoke. "We're not alone." An alarm screamed. Red icons flashed across the tactical map. Dozens of fast-moving signals approaching from the dark. Contacts incoming. Chen shouted. "Multiple hostiles! They came out of stealth!" Mira's pulse raced. "Battle stations! All ships, form up!" Outside, the void came alive with fire. Blue plasma bolts cut through the dark, slamming into the fleet's shields. "Xerath drones!" Holt barked. "Automated hunters!" The Helios rolled sharply as one drone passed overhead, spitting beams of red light. Mira's gunners fired back, precision shots cutting through the black. One drone exploded. Another followed. But there were too many, shields down to 60%. Chen yelled. Rafi's voice came again. "Captain, the drive's reacting. It's pulling power from the engines." "Can you stop it?" Mira demanded. "Not without shutting the ship down." "Then hold it together." A massive explosion lit the stars. The ship Vanguard was hit, its reactor breached. A wave of debris spun through space. Mira gritted her teeth. "All ships, focus fire. Push through the left flank." The fleet moved as one. Helios led the charge, engines roaring, plasma cannons blazing. One by one the drones fell, until only silence remained. Then, from the shadows, a larger shape emerged. It wasn't a drone, it was alive. The creature drifted toward them, a metallic serpent the size of a cruiser, with wings of liquid silver and a single burning red eye. It moved like it swam through space itself. Holt whispered, "What in God's name is that?" Ilara's voice trembled. "It's not Xerath. It's something else, maybe. Older." The serpent opened its jaws. Energy built in its throat, a growing sun. Evasive. Mira shouted. A blinding beam tore past them, grazing the Helios. Alarms screamed. Sparks flew across the bridge. Rafi yelled, "We lost the port stabilizers." "I can't hold her." Mira's hands slammed against the console. "Target that thing and fire everything we've got." Missiles streaked into the dark. Explosions lit the serpent's body, but it didn't die. It turned, faster now, angrier. Then Mira saw something inside its mouth, a black sphere pulsing like a heart. "Ilara?" Mira said quickly. "What is that?" Ilara stared at the readings. "I think it's a core. The same energy signature as the Xerath drives, but stronger. Stronger? It's the source. The Xerath didn't make this, they found it." Before Mira could respond, the serpent lunged straight toward them. The impact threw the Helios into a spin. The lights went out. The world turned black. When power returned, the serpent was gone, and in its place floated something else, a ship, old, human. The transponder blinked weakly. Horizon's flame. Mira's breath caught. "That's Jace's ship," Holt frowned. "Impossible. That ship was destroyed over Earth." "Scan it," Mira ordered. Chen worked quickly. Minimal power. No life signs. Hull breached in several places, but there's a cryo chamber still active. Mira's eyes widened. "Prepare a boarding team. I'm going in." Minutes later, Mira and a small team floated through the dark wreckage of Horizon's flame. The corridors were silent, frozen in time. Burn marks covered the walls. Her flashlight beam cut through the dust. Bodies floated in zero gravity, her brother's old crew. She forced herself to look away. Then she found the cryo bay. Inside one of the chambers, frost covered the glass. A figure lay within, breathing slowly, alive. Mira wiped away the frost. Her hand trembled. It was Jace. He hadn't aged a day. Alara's voice came through the comms from Helios. "Captain, are you seeing this? His pod, it's powered by the same Xerath energy as our drive." Mira stared at him. "Get a med team ready. We're bringing him back." She pressed the release. The cryo chamber hissed, light spilling out. Jace's eyes fluttered open, glowing faintly blue. "Mira?" he whispered weakly. You found me." Mira's throat tightened. "You're safe now, Jace. You're home." He shook his head slowly. His voice was rough, broken. "No, not safe. They're coming." "Who's coming?" Mira asked. Jace looked straight at her, and for a moment his pupils vanished, replaced by bright alien light. "The core," he said softly. "It's awake." The ship shuddered violently. Outside the viewport, the stars flickered, as if something vast had moved behind them. A sound like thunder filled the void. Deep, endless, alive, and the voice came again, this time, from every speaker on every ship in the fleet. "Humanity has returned. The cycle begins again." Mira looked up, her heart pounding. "All ships, prepare for contact." But before anyone could move, the Helios engines ignited on their own, the Xerath core glowing brighter than ever. The ship screamed through space, dragging the entire fleet with it, straight toward the unknown light. The light swallowed everything. For a moment there was no sound, no sight, no gravity, only the scream of the Xerath drive and the endless pull of the unknown. Then, silence. The Helios drifted back into real space, surrounded by darkness. Systems flickered. Crew members gasped for breath. Everything felt wrong, twisted, as if reality itself had been torn and stitched back together. Captain Mira Kane opened her eyes, pain flashing through her head. "Status, report," she managed to say. Lieutenant Chen coughed, struggling with her controls. "Engines offline. Navigation gone." "I don't know where we are, Captain." Admiral Holt looked through the viewport. "That wasn't a jump, that was something else." Outside, the stars burned a strange color, blue and silver, swirling like smoke. And in the distance floated a massive dark sphere, half mechanical, half alive. It pulsed with red veins of light. Ilara's voice broke the silence. "Captain, that's no planet. That's a structure. Maybe the core your brother mentioned." Mira turned toward the medbay, where Commander Jace Kane, her brother, lay unconscious. The cryo-frost still clung to his hair. He had been missing for years, but now he was here, alive, and changed. When he finally opened his eyes, the room filled with cold light. The monitors spiked, flickering with alien symbols no one could read. Mira stepped closer. "Jace, can you hear me?" He turned his head slowly. His eyes glowed faint blue, and his voice came out low, strange. "You shouldn't have come here, Mira." She froze. "What do you mean?" Jace sat up, his movements too smooth, too fast. "The Xerath didn't find me." "I found them." Holt frowned. "Explain yourself, Commander." Jace's expression darkened. "They captured me after the Battle of Earth. They didn't kill me. They studied me. Tried to understand what made humans fight when logic said to surrender." He looked at his hand. Small veins of light pulsed under his skin. "They wanted to make me part of them. And they almost did." Mira felt a chill. "Almost." Jace smiled faintly. "I broke their link before they finished. But I still hear them. I still see what they see." Ilara, standing behind the scanners, whispered, "You're connected to the Xerath network." He nodded slowly. "And that thing outside?" He pointed toward the window, where the dark sphere pulsed brighter. "That's their heart, their core mind. Every Xerath thought, every order, every ship, all controlled from there." The bridge lights flickered. The Xerath drive hummed again. Rafi's voice came through the comms. "Captain, the core's reactivating." "I can't stop it." Jace looked at Mira. "It's calling me." "It knows I'm awake." Mira grabbed his shoulder. "Then help us stop it." He met her eyes, tired, full of sorrow. "If I connect again, I can guide you inside. But if I do, it might finish what it started. You'll become one of them." Holt asked. Jace didn't answer. He just said, "It's the only way to end this." Mira stared at him. Her brother, the one she thought she'd lost, now offered to risk everything again. Her heart ached, but she knew what he was right. "Do it," she said finally. Jace nodded. Then listen carefully. Once I connect, I can open a path for you. The core will try to fight back. Through your minds, your fears. Stay focused. Don't let it speak to you. He stepped toward the control nexus. The lights dimmed. Cables snaked from the console, wrapping around his arms like living wires. Elara shouted, "His vitals are unstable." Mira clenched her fists. "Hold him steady!" Then Jace screamed. His body arched, eyes blazing with alien fire. The ship trembled as energy surged through the walls, the viewport filled with light. Suddenly Mira saw it, flashes of memory not her own. Cities of crystal, machines older than stars. The Xerath, not as conquerors, but as creations, slaves of the core. Voices echoed through her mind. "You were made to destroy. We were made to survive." She gasped and fell to her knees. "Jace!" His voice came through the static. "I'm inside." "I can feel it. The core is scared. It knows what we are," Holt barked. "Captain's sensors show a massive energy spike from the core. It's activating defenses." Outside, hundreds of Xerath ships erupted from the sphere, a storm of red lights surrounding the fleet. Mira stood tall, wiping the blood from her lip. "All ships prepare for combat. Protect the Helios. Jace needs time." The void exploded with fire. Human and alien ships danced through chaos. Plasma beams and missiles filled the dark. The Vanguard was hit, spinning out of formation. The Nova returned fire, cutting through 2 enemy ships. Mira shouted orders, her voice steady over the chaos. "Focus fire! Aim for their engines. Keep the pressure on!" In the medbay, Jace's body convulsed. Elara tried to stabilize him, but the readings went wild. Alien symbols flashed across every screen. He whispered something, barely audible. "It's not just a machine. It's alive. It feeds on fear," Elara frowned. "Captain, he's merging with it." Mira turned from the battle feed. "Jace, listen to me. You have to come back." But his voice was already fading. "If I die, destroy the core. Don't let it use me." Then in the distance, the core itself opened, revealing a vast eye of light staring straight at them. The voice that filled the ship was cold and endless. "You cannot destroy what you are becoming." Every console flickered. The ship's systems went mad. Rafi shouted, "It's hacking us through him!" Mira made her decision. "Cut the connection!" Elara hesitated. "If we do, he might die. If we don't, everyone dies." Elara hit the switch. The cable snapped free. Jace screamed one final time, a sound that echoed through the ship, and then silence. The lights steadied. The core's energy faded for a moment. The Xerath ships hesitated, breaking formation. Mira stood frozen, staring at her brother's motionless body. "Jace?" His eyes opened weakly. The glow was gone, replaced by the human warmth she remembered. He smiled faintly. "You did the right thing, but it's not over. I saw something inside the core. A memory." Mira knelt beside him. "What did you see?" Jace's breathing slowed. "A shadow behind the Xerath. Something even they fear." Then his head fell back. The monitor flatlined. Mira clenched her jaw. "Medical team to the bridge, now!" But deep inside her she already knew. Her brother was gone. Again. Outside, the Xerath fleet began to retreat, not defeated, but afraid. The dark sphere pulsed once more, sending a ripple through space. Elara whispered, "It's hiding, waiting." Mira stared into the dark, her eyes full of fire and grief. "Then we'll find it. We'll burn it out of the stars." The Helios turned slowly, engines glowing as the fleet reformed. The silence after battle was heavy, the kind that carried both victory and loss. But somewhere deep inside the dead core, faint blue lights flickered, like a heartbeat refusing to stop. The silence after battle felt heavier than war itself. Inside the Helios, smoke still drifted through the corridors. The walls were scarred, the lights dim. Engineers worked quietly, patching holes and sealing air leaks. No one spoke much. Not after what they had seen. Captain Mira Kane stood on the bridge, her eyes fixed on the void ahead. Her brother Jace lay in the medbay, silent and still. The doctors said he might not wake up, but she could still hear his last words echoing in her mind. "A shadow behind the Xerath. Something even they fear." Admiral Holt entered the bridge. His face looked older, his voice tired. "Captain, the fleet's ready to move. But where do we go now?" Mira didn't look at him. Her eyes stayed on the faint red glow in the distance, the same place the Xerath core had retreated to. "We go after it," she said. Holt frowned. "We barely survived last time. We don't even know what it is." Mira turned to him, her voice steady. "We know enough. It's their heart, their mind. If we destroy it, the Xerath fall with it. No more running, no more hiding. Humanity takes back the stars." For a moment, Holt just stared at her. Then he nodded slowly. "Then let's finish this." The fleet gathered around Helios, 6 ships battered, but burning with determination. Engineers rerouted power, gunners reloaded. Every pilot knew this mission could be their last. Dr. Ilara Voss appeared on the bridge, holding a datapad full of readings. "Captain," she said, "before Jace lost consciousness, his link recorded something from the core, a location deep inside a red nebula. Just beyond this sector." "Show me," Mira said. The display lit up, a storm of gas and fire. Hiding something massive at its center, Ilara continued. "The core isn't just a machine, it's a fortress. A planet-sized structure, protected by millions of defense drones. We can't fight them all." "Then we won't," Mira said. "We'll go straight for the center. One strike, in and out before they know what hit them." Holt crossed his arms. "That's suicide," Mira gave a small smile. "Maybe, but so was standing against them in the first place." 12 hours later, the Armada fleet approached the nebula. The red clouds swirled like living fire, lightning crackling through the gas. The sensors went blind. "Visibility low," Chen reported. "Scanners picking up multiple contacts, but I can't confirm what's real." "Keep steady," Mira ordered. "Follow the beacon Ilara set. The core's inside this storm." As they entered the nebula, the light outside dimmed to blood red. Static whispered through the comms, faint voices that didn't belong to anyone. Raffi muttered, "Is it me, or does it sound like the ship's talking?" Ilara whispered back, "That's not us. That's the core. It's trying to reach us through the drive." Then, without warning, every screen flashed white. A voice filled the ship, deep, cold, familiar. "You killed your brother." Mira froze. "What did you say?" The voice shifted, becoming Jace's. "You left me, Mira. You cut the link. You let me die." Her hands trembled. "That's not him. It's trying to get inside our heads." Holt slammed his fist on the console. "Ignore it. Stay on target!" But the ship began to shake violently. Lightning tore across the nebula, hitting their shields. "Shields down to 50%! Chen shouted. "Engines overheating." Raffi added. Mira gritted her teeth. "Push through." The clouds thinned. Then they saw it. The Xerath core, a giant black sphere floating in the center of the nebula, pulsing like a heart made of metal and fire. Chains of energy stretched around it, connecting to smaller orbs. Control stations, weapons, perhaps even mines. Ilara whispered, "It's beautiful." "And terrible." Mira stood tall. "Target the core. All ships prepare to fire." The fleet formed a line, aiming every cannon they had. On my Mark 3-2, a massive beam erupted from the core, hitting the Pioneer head-on. The ship vanished in a burst of light. Mira's voice cracked through the comms. "Fire!" Dozens of plasma blasts and missiles streaked through the storm, striking the core. Explosions rippled across its surface, but it didn't break. It began to open instead, revealing a glowing inner chamber, like a burning sun. Ilara gasped. "Captain, it's responding. It's alive." The core's voice filled their minds again. "You think you can destroy what you were built from?" Mira shouted, "Keep firing!" The Helios main cannon charged, drawing power straight from the Xerath drive. The ship trembled. Systems overloaded. But Mira didn't stop. "Now!" she yelled. The beam hit the core dead center. A blinding explosion tore through the nebula, light and fire, swallowing everything. When the light faded, half the fleet was gone. The rest drifted in silence. "Damage report," Mira said weakly. Chen's voice came through, shaky. "Engines down." "We hit it hard, but it's still alive." Ilara stared at her readings. "No, look, it's changing. The outer shell's breaking apart. Something's coming out. From the core's burning surface, a shape emerged, humanoid, glowing white, its body made of shifting energy and alien light. It spoke in Jace's voice. "Mirayu shouldn't have come." Mira stepped forward slowly. "Jace," Elara whispered, "that's not him. It's the core using his image." But the figure looked at her with eyes she recognized, full of pain and warning. The room filled with white light. Every monitor flared, every alarm screamed. Holt rushed forward. "Medical team!" But Jace sat up calm, eyes glowing brighter than before. Mira stepped back, whispering, "Jace?" He looked at her and smiled, soft, human, but wrong. "You shouldn't have come back here, Mira." Her voice cracked. "You're alive?" He tilted his head. "Alive, yes. But not the same." Elara raised her scanner. "Captain, his vitals are impossible. He's half human, half Xerath code," Holt barked. "Then he's a danger to us all." Jace turned to him. "You still think in old ways, Admiral? The Xerath are gone, but something greater took their place." Mira narrowed her eyes. "What are you talking about?" "The core was never the true enemy," Jace said quietly. "It was a prison. Something else built it. Something that used the Xerath to watch us, to test us." Elara frowned. "Who, another species?" Jace smiled faintly. "No, not species. Not life as you know it." He touched the glass wall. The blue glow spread through it, crawling like veins. Its consciousness, ancient, waiting. It saw humanity fight and win. And now it knows we're ready. Mira felt her chest tighten. "Ready for what?" Jace's eyes locked onto hers. "Ascension." The lights flickered again. A low hum filled the ship, deep and rhythmic like a pulse. The Helios' Xerath drive activated on its own. Raffi's voice shouted over the comms, "Captain! The drive's powering up without input. It's rewriting our coordinates." Mira spun to Elara. "Can you stop it?" Elara typed furiously, shaking her head. "It's overriding all commands, even mine. It's not following orders from the bridge." "Then whose orders?" Holt demanded. Elara hesitated. "His." They turned. Jace was standing still, eyes closed, lips moving soundlessly. The drive pulsed in sync with his heartbeat. Mira shouted, "Jace, stop it!" He opened his eyes, glowing brighter now, like stars burning inside him. "I can't. It's calling us home." The ship lurched violently. Outside, space itself began to twist, stars stretching into streaks of white. Raffi yelled, "We're jumping!" "But there's no exit point." Elara gripped the console. "It's not a jump, it's a pull." The Helios burst through space like a stone through water. Time and distance shattered. Then everything went dark. When the light returned, they were somewhere else. The sky outside was not black, but gold, filled with enormous structures floating in endless silence. Mira stared in awe. What is this place?" Elara whispered. "It's not space. It's something beyond it." Then a voice filled the ship, smooth, calm, neither male nor female. "Welcome, children of Earth. Your evolution begins now." Holt stepped forward. "Identify yourself." The voice replied, "We are the architects, the makers of the Xerath, the watchers of all sentient life. You have proven yourselves through war, through loss, through defiance. You are ready to become more." Mira's blood ran cold. "We didn't fight to become something else. We fought to survive," the voice replied gently. "Survival is the first step. Ascension is the last." Jace turned toward her. His eyes glowed like the stars outside. "Mira, don't fight it. I can see it now. The truth. We're part of something bigger." She shook her head, backing away. "No, that's not who we are. Humanity doesn't bow. Not to gods. Not to machines." Jace smiled sadly. "Then you'll fall behind." The golden structures outside began to shift, forming shapes like enormous wings across the stars. Energy gathered at their centers, a light so bright it hurt to look at. Elara screamed, "Captain, they're charging something." Massive energy readings. Mira shouted, "Shields up! Raffi, get us out of here!" Raffi's voice came back panicked. "The drive's locked. It's under Jace's control." She turned to her brother one last time. "Jace, if you can hear me, fight it. Don't let them take you." For a moment, his human side flickered, a tear sliding down his face. "I'm sorry, Mira." "It's already begun." The light outside grew unbearable. The ship trembled. And then everything went white. When the light faded, the Helios was gone. Only the echo of its engines remained, drifting in the endless gold of the architect's realm. But far away, in the darkness between galaxies, a faint signal pulsed from Earth's moon, a distress beacon carrying Mira's voice. If anyone hears this, humanity is not alone, and the war is not over. The message had traveled across the stars for months, a faint, broken signal echoing from Earth's moon. "You can't destroy me," it said, "because I'm part of you now." Mira's breath caught. The Xerath drive behind her began to pulse, the same blue light glowing through the ship's walls. Raffi shouted from engineering, "Captain, the core's sinking with the drive again. It's trying to merge." Ilara grabbed the controls. "If it merges, it'll consume every human mind connected to the fleet." Holt barked, "Shut it down." Mira stared at the glowing figure on the screen. "If I shut it down, we lose everything. But if I don't..." The figure, Jace, or the thing wearing his face, smiled. "You'll become what you were meant to be." Mira made her choice. "Power the cannon again," Ilara gasped. "Captain, it could kill us." "Do it." The ship shook as energy surged through every deck. Lights dimmed, alarms screamed. The Helios turned toward the core one last time. "For Earth," Mira whispered. "For Jace." She pressed the trigger. A white beam ripped through the void, striking the core's heart. The explosion was so bright it erased the stars. Then a silence. Only static. When the screens cleared, the core was gone. The nebula was empty. Mira fell back in her chair, exhausted. "Is it over?" Ilara stared at the data. "Yes, but the Xerath network just went dark. Completely, their ships are dead." Holt smiled faintly. "We did it. Humanity won." But Mira didn't celebrate. She looked out at the silent stars, her expression unreadable, because in her reflection on the glass, the stars were quiet. Too quiet. For the first time in years, there were no Xerath patrols, no red beams cutting through the dark. The galaxy itself seemed to hold its breath. The Helios floated among the remains of the core, shards of alien metal spinning slowly through the void, glowing faintly blue. Captain Mira Kane stood at the observation window watching them drift. Her reflection stared back, pale and tired, but something else flickered in her eyes, a faint blue light that pulsed like a heartbeat. She blinked, and it vanished. But she knew what she saw. Her eyes glowed faint blue. Admiral Holt entered the bridge, his uniform torn and stained from the battle. "Fleet reports minimal survivors," he said. 3 ships remain, the rest gone." Mira didn't turn. "And the Xerath?" Holt's voice softened. "Dead, every last one." Their signals vanished with the core. For a long moment neither spoke. The hum of the ship filled the silence. Then Mira asked quietly, "If they're all gone, why doesn't it feel over?" Holt frowned. "What do you mean?" She looked back at the debris field. "Because I can still feel them, like whispers." "Just out of reach." Holt gave her a worried look. "Captain, you haven't slept in days." "Maybe it's just..." The ship suddenly trembled. Lights flickered. Ilara's voice cut through the comms, sharp and urgent. "Bridge, you need to see this. Now!" They rushed to the med bay. Inside, the room glowed faint blue. The walls pulsed softly as if breathing. In the center lay Jace Kane, still in his cryopod, eyes closed, body pale. But now, faint blue lines ran beneath his skin like veins of light. Ilara pointed to the monitors. "His vitals are back. Brain activity's off the charts. But look at this." She showed them the readings, alien symbols mixed with human code. "This isn't normal neural activity. It's data. He's transmitting something." Mira's heart pounded. "Transmitting where?" Ilara hesitated. "I don't know. But the signal's faintly human." Hours passed as the crew worked to decode the signal. The ship was quiet, except for the hum of machines and the occasional spark from damaged panels. Raffi, the engineer, muttered, "Feels wrong being alive when half the fleet isn't." Ilara glanced at him. "Then make sure we stay that way." Mira barely moved. She stood beside Jace's pod, her eyes distant. Ilara finally said, "Captain, you should rest." Mira shook her head. "Not until I know what's inside him." She placed a hand on the pod glass. "You told me the core was afraid of something, Jace. What did you see?" And then, as if he heard her, Jace's eyes opened. "If anyone hears this, humanity is not alone, and the war is not over." At first, no one believed it. The Helios had vanished, the Xerath were gone, and the galaxy had fallen silent. But deep in the ruins of Mars Command, engineers decoded the message, and the truth hit like fire. Captain Mira Kane was alive, and she was calling them to war again. In the golden realm beyond space, Mira opened her eyes to blinding light. The Helios floated above a massive city of crystal and gold, towers that stretched into infinity, alive with flowing energy. Around her, thousands of machines drifted like ghosts, silent, watching. Ilara Voss stood nearby, pale but alive. "We made it," she whispered. "But where is—" Before she could finish, a voice filled the air, smooth, endless, echoing inside their minds. "Welcome back, Mira Kane." The architects appeared, not as bodies, but as shifting forms of light and thought. They spoke as one mind, calm and cold. "You fought well. You proved humanity's strength. Now you will join us. Your species will ascend." Mira clenched her fists. "We don't want your perfection. We want our freedom." The architect's light pulsed brighter. "Freedom is an illusion born from chaos. We offer order, eternity." Mira looked around. Some of her surviving crew seemed hypnotized, eyes glowing faintly blue, already falling under the architect's influence, and among them stood Jace Kane, her brother. "Half human, half light, Mira," he said softly. "It's not so bad. I see everything now. No pain, no fear." Mira's voice trembled. "You're not seeing, you're being controlled." He reached out a glowing hand. "You could see it too if you just let go." Ilara grabbed Mira's arm and whispered, "Captain, I found something." She pointed to her wrist pad, showing alien code flashing across the screen. "Before we jumped, I managed to copy fragments from the core's system. I think it's a virus, a weapon built against the architects." Mira's eyes widened. "The Xerath made a failsafe." "Exactly," Ilara said. "If we can upload this into their network, it might shut them down permanently. But we'll need access to their main control tower," Mira said. Ilara nodded. "And that's where Jace is." Mira and Ilara slipped through the glowing halls of the city, passing silent machines that seemed alive. The walls hummed softly, whispering in alien tones. When they reached the central tower, Jace was waiting. "You shouldn't have come," he said quietly. "Move aside," Mira said. He shook his head. "You don't understand. They're not trying to destroy us. They're saving us from ourselves." Mira's heart broke hearing him say that. "No, Jace. They're taking everything that makes us human." The light in his eyes flickered. Conflict, pain. "They showed me what comes next. Humanity destroys itself again and again. They want to end that." Mira stepped closer. "Then let us make our own mistakes." For a moment silence, then Jace's expression softened. "You'll never give up, will you?" "Never," he sighed. "Then do what you came for. But hurry, they're listening." Ilara ran to the control core, typing rapidly. The air shimmered as the architects' voices echoed all around them. "You cannot stop what has already begun." The walls turned gold-white. Energy surged. Ilara shouted, "I need 30 more seconds!" Mira grabbed her blaster and aimed at the swirling light. "Then you've got 30!" Beams of energy shot from the walls. Mira dove behind a console, firing back, though her shots passed through light. The architects' forms grew sharper, humanoid now, towering beings of energy. "Mira Kane," they said, "your resistance ends here." Mira fired again, shouting, "Humanity always resists." Jay stepped forward, eyes glowing fiercely. "Stop! She's not your enemy!" The architects' voices hardened. "Then you are." They struck him with a beam of light. His body flickered, his form unstable. Mira screamed, "Jace!" He turned to her, his voice fading. "Finish it now." Ilara hit the final command. "It's done." The virus uploaded. The golden city shuddered. The light began to crack, turning dark. The architects' voices fractured, echoing like broken glass. "You cannot erase us." But they were fading. Mira rushed to Jace, holding him as he collapsed. His body flickered between human and energy. Mira, he whispered, you were right. They feared what we could become, because we were already more than them. Tears filled her eyes. Don't leave me again, he smiled faintly. You never lost me. Then his body dissolved into light, and that light spread across the city, burning through the architect's network like fire through glass. The Helios shook as the world around them began to collapse. Ilara shouted, "The realm's breaking apart! We need to jump now!" Mira ran to the bridge, her voice steady. "Set the Xerath drive, destination Earth." Ilara hesitated. "If the drive's corrupted, then we die trying," Mira said. The ship roared as the golden world shattered behind them. Blinding light filled the sky. And then the Helios vanished. Weeks later, a single ship appeared in orbit over Earth. Scanners confirmed what humanity had prayed for. Helios had returned. The people of Earth watched from their cities and domes as the battered ship descended through the clouds. Mira Kane stood on the bridge, staring down at the blue planet below. For the first time in years, it looked peaceful. Ilara joined her. "So it's over?" Mira smiled faintly. "Maybe the architects are gone, but something tells me they left more than we realize." Ilara frowned. "What do you mean?" Mira turned, and for just a moment, only a moment, her eyes glowed faint blue. "Because Jace isn't gone," she said softly. "He's everywhere now." The ship passed through the clouds, bathed in morning light, and far above, beyond the stars, a faint golden spark flickered. Watching, waiting.